on the mic, they gon' play it on repeat. Cash 100 milli check, I get paid just to breathe. Kill it 24/7, cause I slay in my sleep. Flames pipe down when I enter in the convo.
Hey, there you go, folks. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I mean, we over here at the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast are a wholesome, Disney Plus rated type show. And, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody hacked us or some shit and they're trying to ruin our reputation and whatnot and everything, right? I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because, hey, that definitely was not Disney Plus approved. Whatever was going on in that bathroom.
Now, that's not the Willow series, is it?
Nice.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm just
I like it. Yeah.
No, that's actually that was a scene from Thor 4 that they cut out. But anyways, speaking of which, folks, yes, of course, we are the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel podcast, and I am here with my co-host Cyberneticshark, the veteran YouTuber and content creator. And I am, of course, Jeff S., a.k.a. True Knowledge. And I am just the humbled co-host, the less talented of the two co-hosts of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge here. And I'm just blessed, to be able to be a part of the operation at the end of the day. We're here to do a Ms. Marvel finale review and breakdown show, live stream show on the Bleeding Edge. Everything we do is live, everything. That's what we do. And on our panel, we just had 3 people on it and whatnot. Unfortunately, we lost one of them and whatnot. Hopefully, he'll come back. Shaw, the co-host of the Geek Outlet podcast, good friend of mine and whatnot, and ours. He's been on the show a couple times and whatnot. So, Shaw, if you hear us and whatnot and everything, brother, come back, man. We want you. But we got Gunnar back here on the Wednesday main show. I mean, shit, man. He came on with me, on Sunday, Gunnar?
Yeah, man. First time.
Oh, shit. Yep. For the first time, after his,
hearings.
Yep. He was in hiding there for a while and whatnot, with Chloe Zhao in a cave, working on the script for Eternals 2, Gunnar was just trying to, help Chloe out and whatnot, because she is, of course, literally like a game-changing, like life-altering type director and whatnot.
Well, Eternals 2 is a think piece about a mid-level band struggling with the harsh. Oh, sorry, that was almost famous. My bad.
Listen, I think a fucking Tuscan sand person could goddamn direct Eternals 2 better than Chloe Zhao. Okay, just to be clear, that baby leg. There you go. Right, that's all you need. That baby leg, fucking dude or whatever, or chick, whatever that is, and whatnot in the video, and whatnot, could direct it better.
Look out, Jeff Duck. She threw her Oscar at your head.
That's right. That guy sitting on that toilet in that video taking a shit could direct the movie better for the toilet than Chloe. But either way, we got Joe, the boss dog Count, back and whatnot and everything to guest on the Bleeding Edge. He is regularly and very quickly, rapidly becoming a frequent guest on the Bleeding Edge. He's been on here so many times recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? Real quick, Joe, why do you go by the boss dog exactly?
It was a nickname back in college and high school, and it just kind of stuck. My recording studio's Boss Dog Studios. My other show that's getting ready to start is the Boss Dog Show. It's just kind of been on the back burner for a long time. I used to wear boss gear all the time, and they'd be like, "Dude, what's up, boss?" And it just kind of went along. So, yeah, that's why.
Great. Well, you know what? That is awesome, man. It really is. I mean, I won't lie to you. I was actually hoping for more of like an entertaining or interesting type explanation, and like what you gave me was a little weak. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? It's okay. That's okay, man. You know, it's all good. We'll work with it. But anyways, bottom line, folks, we're here to do a finale review and breakdown of Miss Marvel finale and whatnot. And I can honestly say, to preface the show, that the finale was better than episode 5, at least, right? You know, without question.
Oh yeah.
And you know, hey, it looked great visually. That's one thing I want to point out right now that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about sometimes in their shows, their videos to talk about the show, how visually like well everything looks. You know, how clean, you know, the filming looks and whatnot, and the shots look and everything, and how great the colors are, you know, like throughout like the episodes and whatnot, in terms of these little Miss Marvel logo scenes that they do in the beginning, right? I love that shit. I do. It's great. They've done some really interesting stuff with the way that they filmed and like designed and structured these episodes, you know? So hats off to Marvel Studios and whatnot. They did a great job actually producing this series. They did. You know, honestly. And then that's a whole other conversation. At the end of the day, the Miss Marvel finale, of course, caps off the Disney Plus series for Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, a character directly from the comic books, whose you know, comic titles and whatnot have always failed at the end of the day. But they keep making them anyway, over and over again, because that's what they do over comics these days. Either way, I want to go around real quick right now and go around the panel and kind of start the show off with something with things backwards a little bit, just to change things up. And just go ahead and ask you guys, starting with you, Cyber, you know, then go to Joe, and then Gunnar, you could round things out at the end. What are your thoughts as far as, I guess, instead of like how I normally ask you, how did you feel at the end of a film in the theater or something? What were your thoughts at the end of the finale, without mentioning the post-credit scene at all, of course, right? What were your thoughts on how you felt about the finale and the overall series itself there at the end of the finale? Go ahead, Cyber.
So, I mean, overall, this finale was pretty decent. I liked it that we got more of Kamala's powers, that we got to see more of that in use, and they actually kind of kept it very similar to the comics. They kind of gave us a little bit more of that scratchy girl action like in the comics was. So I was very happy and pleased with that. And overall, I thought it was a decent finale. I thought it wrapped things up very well. I thought it gave us a pretty, you know, precise, close story that told us exactly what they pretty much encompassed in the whole series, this first season. And overall for this, you know, series or season, I would say, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I really liked the gal that's playing Kamala, Iman Vellani. I think she's really fantastic. I really liked a lot of the secondary characters. I thought they were fun too. And I like how they kind of closed it out with, you know, the damage control kind of being the bad guy. So I thought that was kind of cool. And it gave us a little bit more of damage control too. So overall, I thought it was pretty decent. Probably in my top 5 of the Marvel series so far. So I thought it was pretty good.
Excellent. Gunnar. Oh, excuse me, Joe. I apologize.
Oh, whatever. It's all good. I'm with Cyber. I enjoyed the visuals. The whole experience, the 6 episodes, I thought was really well made. I thought it was really thought out. It was how they connected the family. All the pieces of her uniform came from different parts of her family, and the red dagger, and you had a lot of different aspects. I still feel like the Jinn was a little played down. I think they were just more like some tough street gangs. Whatever happened where his aunt gave him all those powers all of a sudden. But, you know, the overall, I was very pleased. I enjoyed the experience. It was well done. I'm very happy with the whole product. And with her powers there, we got to see a little bit more. She be, flipping trucks and just doing a lot more of Miss Marvel type things. So overall, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I think my biggest thing was I felt the Jinn was kind of weak. So other than that, I was happy.
Great, Gunnar.
Well, you know what? That music sting we got towards the end of the episode, no matter how great or terrible the show was, when that music cue hit, it's like, yeah, it is on. Twice now they've given us that cue, which I'm sure we'll talk about it later. But full disclosure, I am a total mark for teen movies, everything from John Hughes to, Clueless. Haven't seen or heard Clueless in the longest time. All those movies, say She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait. I love all those movies, and I think that made me love this series. And Iman Vellani, I loved her so much. It was the kind of love. I don't know if you guys ever seen Beautiful Girls. I fell in love with Natalie Portman in that movie. Not in like a sexual way, because she was like 9 in that movie, but just like the personality, it was just, I can't explain it, but I loved Kamala in this show. I was mesmerized by her. She's so adorable. She's a dork. Like, I loved it. Loved everything about the finale. And that music cue.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is that all you got, Gunnar?
I can go on for hours, but that's all I'll say for now.
Okay, well, you know what? Unfortunately, Shaw had to drop off the show. He was going to be on. He essentially caught a case. I'm a pussy-itis, I think, basically, based off what he just told me real quick in the Facebook Messenger and whatnot. Wasn't very positive what he had to say. But that's okay. You know what?
Did I do it again after I got that guy? Got that guy in a fight with you because he didn't watch Boba Fett, and he yelled at me for saying Batman's villains outshadowed him. Did I lose another one, Jeff? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna have any friends by the time I'm done.
Did you say Batman villains outshadowed Boba Fett?
No. Well, we were doing a Boba Fett show, and in talking about Batman, I just said he's overshadowed by his villains in all the great Batman movies, and whoever this guy was did not like it at all. And then it came out, he's like, "Well, I didn't watch." I don't know if that was Book of Boba Fett. It was something. He's like, "Well, I didn't watch that." Like, it's a review show. I do not watch it.
I was not happy with Boba.
Maybe it was Moon Knight. I think it was Moon Knight, actually, now that you mention it. Yeah, because that's how Batman came up. But still, I'm a troublemaker.
Got you. Okay. Well, hey, why don't we go ahead and get into the episode? As far as how things open up. So basically, we start off with damage control right from bat in full pursuit, right? Of Cameron and of Bruno, right? Who are still teamed up, okay? And on the hiding essentially, like running, I guess, almost sort of like running away from damage control still. And basically, Cameron is giving off this vibe at times as if he's almost like wounded in a way, or like he's hurt, and Bruno's having to like support him at times, like when he's standing and walking and shit like that and whatnot. And we're going to get into later on here in a later on aspect or later on scene here soon, sort of, I guess, what all's going on with him as far as like the djinn powers that he got from his mom, right? At the end of episode 5 and shit. But overall, Cameron essentially, and I'm not sure, I can't remember for sure if he's displayed this clearly or openly at the end of episode 5 or not, but he clearly displays from jump with Bruno in the opening scene that he essentially has superpowers, I guess now, right? Or something. I mean, you guys tell me. Would you say it differently? I mean,
yes.
I mean, he's got something going on with that energy or whatever that mom passed on to him. And I'm not sure, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, But isn't that energy something along the lines of or similar to or connected with that same jinn energy that comes off of their reality?
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because where the fuck this power come from? Because you had the jinn trying to fight everybody for this bracelet. Now all of a sudden her son is right there on the same level as Camille. It was a little weird on that part.
What can anybody remind me? What was that power called when the Red Dagger guy was explaining it to Kamala?
Oh shit.
What was that energy called from the other reality or whatever that the jinn are from?
It was the light energy, but how do the Nor energy? I think that what I think something like that.
Is that it?
I think so. What do I know?
Okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and play around and try to find it right now. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing. Let you guys do that. So either way, bottom line, Cameron essentially sort of has powers now, okay, to some degree, right? It's obvious at that point. And basically, we then get into a Marvel intro with, once again, just a great song with the intro, right? It's fabulous. I'm not sure who that band was, right? Or when that came from, but it almost had like an 80s vibe to it that I loved. It really did. And it was just another great song. This, again, I'm not trying to say that the soundtrack for Miss Marvel was anything to blow anybody away, but it was good. It was solid. I mean, we've already talked about before, like how well how great that track is, in the trailer. So, either way, that intro, we can talk about in a minute, but Kamala then goes into telling her family essentially about how she's Light Girl or whatever, right? Or whatever the hell they were calling her in the beginning of the series. And essentially, I guess if I remember correctly, they already knew because Mom had already told everybody. So they now know that she's like, a superhero or whatever to some extent. She's not Miss Marvel yet, but we're not that far yet. So
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Gunnar.
What did I miss something, or was it just odd how the mom just completely changed at the end of last episode? It was like jarring how she completely changed. I know she talked to her mom. I don't know. Was it just me, or did it seem out of left field where all of a sudden, oh, you can be a superhero, when before she wouldn't even let her go to a Marvel con? I don't know. I just found it a little jarring.
I think that's what that whole episode was supposed to be about, like opening the eyes and connecting to everybody, because it's had such a family feel that it's been a lot about family and connections, and so I think that was kind of where they were going with that. Because now this is my daughter. I got to wake up. Oh, great grandma that didn't run away from us. She was killed by these people. Oh my God, it all made sense now. They didn't hate great grandma anymore, and they love their daughter. And I don't know. It came quick, but I think in the form of storytelling, I think it kind of fit. But it seemed quick. But I think it's because we only get a short 6-episode little spit, so they're trying to throw everything really quick. So
okay,
Definitely.
all right. So essentially, Kamala has this whole scene where she tells the family about her being Light Girl, that she has these powers, and then we then get that, I guess, mini scene where they show the Miss Marvel logo in some different looks and whatnot. So at that point, going there, right, to the end of that, right, Gunnar, what did you think? What were your thoughts on the whole damage control pursuit of Cameron and Bruno from Jump, and them starting the show right off with damage control? What are your thoughts on Cameron and Bruno teamed up and whatnot, and running together and whatnot and everything, and that dynamic, and then this deal with Cameron having these powers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing damage control as the bad guys. It's kind of, I mean, granted, they were the antagonist to Tombs when we were first introduced to them, they were still waiting for Stark, and you see slowly, with this, you see them. They're using those Stark drones from Far From Home, and they're using this. They're using that Stark tech with the Hulk, that Hulk cannon that they were using in the Incredible Hulk. So you see them using all of this, all these weapons, and now they're kind of the bad guys. I wonder if it's going to tie in more with the Armor Wars, because we know that's coming up. But as far as Kamran getting his powers and stuff, I like seeing him and Bruno. I love Bruno. I want him in the West Coast Avengers because he's going out west. So whenever we get that, I hope he's part of it. But yeah, I like their dynamic where he's always calling him by the wrong name, and I like seeing them together, Bruno and Kamran. And it's kind of a second version of them getting, we saw how Kamala handled getting her powers. Now we see Kamran getting his powers. So I kind of like that.
Okay. All right. And what do you think about Miss Marvel telling her family about, her powers and being Light Girl and all that too?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of humorous. Again, yeah, just kind of, I love her family. I love all her family. Like they crack me up. Her dad, especially. Like, I just want him in that Hulk costume again. Just give me more of that from the first episode. That was a cute scene.
Okay, Joe, what do you think?
Okay, so damage control. I like how they did it because they're not really bad guys, but they are bad guys. So they made it to where they kind of split. Oh, girl, lieutenant or commander, or whatever her name is. She becomes kind of the bad person within damage control. So they keep it to where, we're kind of bad, we're not, but she has her branch that is bad. And I thought it was cool that they're throwing the same tech out. But I like that oh boy's got his powers. The first initial thing though, like on the last episode 5, it was like, oh, I got powers, there's a thing, pow, I'm messing you up. And it was like seemed really precise and he was on it. And then it was kind of weird on this one. He's just kind of randomly overloading and all this. And, Camilla had to kind of grow into this power and learn it step by step. And he was just kind of going full force. But I like how they can kind of play it. I think with the way they're doing damage control, they were kind of having a hard time with villains. I feel like they were trying to stretch it out a little bit. I mean, damage control is supposed to be there, but I don't know. I think they were, even the Jinn was weak as far as the villain standpoint. But I thought it was cool. I like Bruno. Bruno is the bomb. I think he'll definitely show up in other stuff, and he definitely works with Camilla pretty good. But yeah, it was cool. I like I like their family. They're all. It's really good. I like a lot of it. The damage control and the villains. I think it was the only thing I really struggled with.
But I love Agent Cleary, the guy from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
People here are guys in the chair. Like he's also on Succession too. Stewie on Succession. So I like seeing him. I think he's great. But yeah, the damage control is kind of weak.
Yeah, I think it just seemed. I think it was kind of forced to do something, but I don't know. It was cool. I like the whole Miss Marvel. I think they could have amped up the bad guys just a little bit. They didn't have to be Hulk size, but like all of a sudden, God, I keep forgetting his Brendan, or whatever. Where he just randomly gets his power so quick. Cameron, yeah. Where did this come from? I get old girl die, but all of a sudden, that's a huge thing that I've struggled with. Like, where did it come from? Because y'all been weak as hell the whole series, and all of a sudden you're You're Mr. Marvel. So anyway, that's what I got on that one.
Okay, Cyberneticshark.
So, damage control. I was looking forward to seeing more of them eventually in the MCU after we got to see them a little bit, of course, in Homecoming and then a little bit in No Way Home. So I was looking forward to that. So I love that this, finale started off with damage control in the mist, chasing after Bruno and Cameron. I think that whole sequence is really fun. I like, them dodging and trying to get places and kind of the craziness that ensues with them there. And yeah, I totally agree with the, like, it seems like the whole time Cameron is injured at certain points and Bruno's having to, hold him up and stuff like that. I was kind of thinking about that too as I was watching it, like, why he's not hurt? Why is he holding him like that? Why is, and of course that has, it's kind of like what he says about the power, like it feels like it's eating me inside. So something about him getting his powers and stuff like that is, it's messing with him. So I could kind of see why Bruno was having to hold him. But that was really cool. I was glad, that they gave us more of that, and like everyone else has said, yeah, damage control was kind of weak. It wasn't really damage control, I thought, yet. So maybe they're building them up for something greater, hopefully. Kind of like what they did with Sword, like how Sword was in WandaVision, I think was really potent and really good. So hopefully they'll do something like that with damage control.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought that sequence was really fun. The whole family dynamic is really fun. I agree with Gunnar about the Abu being in the Hulk outfit in that episode. That was super hilarious and fun. I agree with that. I love Bruno too. I think Bruno is a fantastic actor. The guy that is playing Bruno, I think he's perfect. Especially that dance scene that he started at the end of the episode. Oh my God, he's got some great comedy skills to him. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him later on in other future projects.
Now, he auditioned for Peter Parker. I think he would have been a great Peter Parker. I mean, Tom Holland is Peter Parker, so I'm glad they went with the way they did, but he would have made a good Peter Parker.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely has that look and quality, I feel. He could have been a good Peter Parker. But overall, yeah, I thought that whole sequence was really good, and Cameron learned kind of, that whole kind of, all of a sudden he has his powers and he's like kind of using them already and stuff like that. I totally get that from Joe. Like how he was able to do that and stuff. I think that was interesting how they did that. But like we were talking about earlier, I think Joe mentioned how, how they had to speed things up because the series is only 6 episodes long. So I think that's kind of another thing that they had to kind of rush, along with how the mother was already okay with Kamala being a superhero. So I think that was also a part of that as well. But overall, really fun little sequence, really awesome, and I really enjoyed it.
That is excellent to hear, Cyber. And that is a great contribution, and I appreciate it. And moving on, of course, now, and really quick also, I just want to point out, too, that I think that it's interesting, that they went in a direction where they did the whole deal at the end of episode 5 with the mom, passing on in some way, right, those powers, or that power, that was interesting. They, that they threw that in there. I was not expecting that at all, and honestly, for me, I like, it makes me have questions in a way, you know what I mean? In terms of like, how did, like, why or how or what happened where that energy passed on from mom to him? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did that happen? Is that part of the djinn or something? Like, I mean, go ahead, Cyber.
I honestly think the reason why those powers passed on to him is because if you remember in that final scene with the mother, she says something before that ether stuff or whatever you want to call it takes her in. I think whatever she said is the reason why he all of a sudden got those powers. I think that's actually why he got powers.
Yeah, because it was something like I got to fix things, or so I got to do what I should have done before, or something to that extent.
Okay.
But I definitely think it'll connect him to being darker than good. I could be wrong. I don't know. He might team up with the Red Dragon or Red Daggers and flip sides. I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay, no problem. So, does anybody have any thoughts as far as that whole little mini tiny Miss Marvel clip or scene that they dropped and whatnot with those logos and the color schemes and everything and whatnot, real quick?
I mean, they do them every episode. It's great. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an interesting element, right, that they've added with the series, with the episodes. I've enjoyed it.
It's kind of like WandaVision's TV intros every episode.
Yeah.
Like, and Hawkeye did that too, didn't they? Were they a different? Maybe not Hawkeye. One of the shows did that every week, where they did kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I dig it. It's cool. I like it seemed to get, as the show got a little more serious, we've seen less of the animation. But I think in this episode it kind of brought a lot of it back, not as much. But I think that was kind of part of the fun part of Miss Marvel, that kind of a kid animation going in the background as her, as she's going along. So
I got you. Yep, definitely. Okay. So, beyond that, damage control comes to the mosque again, okay? Where now Bruno and Cameron have, sort of headed that way to hide, okay? They've begun going to the mosque, right? And at that point, essentially, this time, now I didn't notice or detect whether or not they had some kind of warrant or something. Like when they actually this time decided to go ahead and like actually investigate and search the mosque for them and whatnot. I didn't notice that. I didn't see them like show anything like that. So, but either way, they do go full out and whatnot this time, and they're not like stopped by anybody from the mosque telling them to go away. Like they're out there and they want Cameron and Bruno. And I believe, if I'm correct, that they want Bruno and Cameron, not just Cameron. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just Cameron. But again, I'm just putting it out there. Maybe Bruno has been sort of, I guess, like collateral damage in a way, it's to some extent, like at the end of episode 5, right? Either way, right? They're searching the mosque. They're trying to find Cameron and Bruno. And essentially, they don't know what the hell Cameron is, right? The damage control. But they're very interested in him again for some reason. I don't clearly know why. I don't at this point. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure what their goals are long term. But essentially, Cameron ends up during a scene with Bruno where they're sort of hiding in an alley almost by like a dumpster. Cameron then ends up like essentially exploding almost with the energy that he has from his mother. He almost like overloads to some extent. Before that, some of it randomly out of his own control. And at that point, again, he sort of explodes or like has an overload moment. And bam, all of a sudden, we actually see Kamala Khan for the first time in the Miss Marvel costume, the real one from the comics. And she looks dope, and she shows us some clear display of having gained more control once again of their powers and whatnot and everything when she's jumping around on the building between like that alley and whatnot with her powers. She's really moving and like flowing and in control, so like her evolution seems to just continue, right, very quickly as far as what she's been able to do with her powers. Not that much time has really passed, I don't think, between the series from episode 1 to the finale. Either way, so after essentially Kamala pops up, we then end up with what ends up being like a rendezvous at the high school, where now Bruno and Cameron are hiding at and whatnot, right? And essentially we end up with like a team up of sorts, where I forget the name of the character, that high school girl that Kamala saved in episode 1. I'm looking real quick. Either way, that girl that damage control questioned and tried to like get her to frame Kamala and everything and whatnot, shows up and is now nice to Kamala and not mean to her all of a sudden and whatnot and everything, and like her friend or whatever and whatnot, and they team up right? And essentially, like, have their like rah-rah moment together, and there you go. It was very nice, very positive. The team building is always good. So, at that point, damage control is in full pursuit still, right? And they're still coming for Cameron. I'm not sure. I don't know if they ever explained it in the episode, but they seem to almost like know where they are, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that they have a tracer on somebody or something like that or whatnot, but they almost seem to have like inside information or something, because they seem to like kind of have an idea where to go to find them. Which, we can talk about. And if any of you guys have any ideas or I missed something, please feel free to like drop and point it out. But in terms of, them as a team and a group with Kamala sort of in the lead, then developing, I guess, a escape plan essentially from damage control together. Before we go into the next couple of bigger scenes that are a lot more pivotal and important and a little bit more action packed than these ones, why don't we cut it there? And Cyber, if you tell me real quick, what did you take out of that section of the episode?
Let's see. So, I mean, that whole sequence at the school was really fun. As I mentioned before, when Bruno goes to distract damage control so that Cameron could get away, that was absolutely hilarious. He started dancing and stuff like that. That was really interesting. That whole kind of that roundabout scene as the whole group is talking with all those different characters there, along with Kamala, her brother, Bruno, Cameron, the girl she saved, and so forth. So that whole camera angle there that they used in that scene was kind of interesting. Made me think a lot about the that sequence in Avengers 1 where they did that when they showed the whole group of characters as they're coming down in New York to take on the aliens, and that was very similar. I thought that was kind of interesting. Decided to go with that. The gal that's kind of like David Troll, that's kind of like the main baddie. I think she's interesting. I was making a comment as I was watching it that, I mean, when she went in to, apply, were they looking for somebody that looked like Dumbo with a 80s haircut? I don't know. She fit the part perfectly. She was just like this weird looking, person, and she was perfect to be that kind of like evil character. And so I thought that was interesting too, how they kind of had it where she was kind of like trying to take over and stuff like that. And then that whole sequence, like I said, was really fun. And then leading up to after that, I think that it gets more exciting and more exciting as it goes along, and it's just really enjoyable. And I just really enjoyed it. I thought that whole sequence was really fun.
Okay, Joe.
So this is kind of the whole high school area, right? Okay, so I thought this whole area did a really good job of making damage control look even more of a joke. I think that was on purpose to show how low level of a threat they really are. Which, that should be a lot worse, but I think that's just kind of putting them where they are right now. I don't know how they're going to get a little more tougher, but the sequence with them sitting around, that cinematography almost looking at the team. It's the team shot, look as the camera goes through and see each one of them as they're getting hype. We're getting ready to do this. Very, very Avengers. I think some of the other movies when the team up happens and they're all like, here, let's do this. I think this was kind of the base to the climax of this episode. And I thought how they teamed up and all the different things they were doing was pretty fun. I think, I don't know. It is very easy. I don't know. Some of this, I really enjoy it, but then when I start really breaking it down, I start thinking about like how much better it could have been. I think it was great. I think it's all needed to really build the character. But again, the damage control was just really just weak and really stupid looking. I mean, you're sliding around in slime. Kids are making a joke out of you. I mean, but it was cool to see when Kamala started going against Cameron when that like, whoa, okay, hold on. Again, the speed factor of the time we had, because she's been working for, I'm guessing, weeks on her powers, maybe months, depending, because they went to India and all this. So, and he was very powerful right out the gate. But it was cool. I like the whole sequence.
Gotcha. Okay, Gunnar.
This is probably my favorite sequence in the series. I loved it. It totally paid off the great heist idea from the first episode, where she was planning how she was breaking out of the house to go to the Avengers Con. So this was a great payoff to that scene, where we get to see it again, and it's used perfectly. Like, it's something that they could totally overdo, but I don't think they did. Kind of like Luis in Ant-Man, where he does this whole, where he talks real fast. And this is this version of that for this series. And I loved it. It was great. Why is Zoe there? I have no idea. Maybe she signed a multi-season deal. I have no idea. But I mean, the theater does have good lighting, so it makes sense that she was there. Yeah, I thought it was great. I love stupid teen movies, so this was perfect.
She's the man.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that. I like that take on it, Gunnar. That's cool.
Great. Thank you very much, Gunnar. Okay. So, I just want to say that I did very much, I want to say, I guess, I'm trying to think of how to word it. I liked the whole moment, the whole deal in the high school of them all coming together, right? The different characters and everything and whatnot, as a team and all that, as a unit and everything, and working together and whatnot, right? And hatching their plan together and everything. And was it sort of, I guess, like a little corny in a way? Yeah, it was, right? It was. But guess what? At the same time, it didn't bother me. It didn't, right? It wasn't a problem or anything like that.
Yeah, Jeff, if you buy into this whole idea of Kamala Khan as a superhero, then you buy into this scene. And if you don't, you're not going to buy into this scene. So, yeah.
I agree.
All right. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but I guess what I was going to say, just to wrap that up, was just that there's been a lot of moments like that through the whole series, right? And I guess to kind of compare and contrast, it kind of in a way makes me think of, for instance, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? And how they injected the racial angle into the series the way they did, right? And for the most part, it was not done badly at all. It worked out. It worked with the story and whatnot and everything. And it wasn't cringy or overdone, or or friggin', too political, you know what I mean? It didn't negatively impact the episodes of the series, right? When they did it. So in a way, I guess, sort of to kind of contrast with this Ms. Marvel series, I believe that, and this isn't just with me, I believe that with a lot of other people too that have enjoyed the series, which are a lot of people at the end of the day, right? Regardless of what the Rotten Tomatoes have said, or whatever, the reviews, whatever. Overall, I think that a lot of people, maybe some are surprised, maybe some aren't, at the fact that they're even enjoying or not having a problem with some of these lighthearted moments and whatnot that we expected to have in this series, right? We knew it was coming, right? And they pulled them off well, And overall, I think that they did a great job finding a balance with the series overall, the episodes in the show, of making it, more available and appealing to children and kids that are younger, right? But at the same time, they also added enough and did enough and whatnot to add also a vibe to the story and the episodes in the series, where there also was sort of an adult tone at times too, right? That, that adults could watch and and feel entertained about. So, again, if anything, my point simply is that I feel very complimentary towards Marvel Studios when it comes to how they did the series and whatnot. I'm not trying to toot my own horn just because just because 7 or 8 months ago or whatever, on multiple shows and on here, I said for word that I was highly optimistic about how well the Miss Marvel Disney Plus series would end up being. And then I thought it might be literally the breakout series of like the year potentially. Well, I guess, I don't know. Now I think that would probably be She-Hulk. At the end of the day, I think that's what She-Hulk will end up being. And I could be wrong, but I was right about Miss Marvel because it's been a great series. So, go ahead, Gunnar.
No, this show could so easily being taken as this show isn't made for me and blown it off. I mean, I know nothing of this Indian culture. I really don't. And it could have been so easy to say, yeah, this character, I don't want to put the work into getting to know this whole lifestyle, this whole culture, this whole teenage, there's every strike for me is telling me to get away from this. But I think it's a testament to not only the people who made it, but Aman Vellani for hooking me from the beginning. That opening scene where she's making her YouTube video just hooked me in right away. And I was sitting there like, take your damn shoes off. Like in this episode, when they walked back into the mosque, I'm like, they're so disrespectful. Why don't they just take their shoes off? And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm saying that. Like, I think again, it's a testament to how well this show was made to get a 40-year-old white man to really embrace this culture that I don't have a lot of dealings with, this culture, and I embraced it. I loved it. Like I'm like Bruno. I'm like the white guy that hangs out with it. Like I want to hang out with these people because they're all like, I don't know. I just fell in love with this whole family, and it could have been so easy. And I'm so glad that I was hooked so early on.
Okay. Does anybody want to add anything as far as, I guess, what I was just kind of dropping and talking about right there, as far as, sort of, the balance or how Marvel Studios ended up doing this series and whatnot, right? And the themes of it and whatnot, and how well it was produced, how well it looked visually and whatnot, how well put together it was. Does anybody have anything, especially Cyber? I guess this would probably be up your alley and your wheelhouse. What do you know? Where you have anything on like the entire production, right? And how well the series has been done?
Well, overall, it's, just like any Marvel production, all the series have been really well done. They've been really well casted. They've been really fun and joyful to watch, and they all have had their flaws, ups and downs, and so forth. Yeah. Now, with this one, I think out of the gate, I think was the first series, I believe, that I recall seeing a 100% Rotten Tomato score when the first episode dropped. All the other series have been like in the 90s range or 80s range. And this was the first one that I actually saw 100%, which I was really surprised by. And at the same time, though, you could see what Marvel was trying to do with this series, give a whole new culture, as Gunnar was explaining, getting a 40-year-old white guy to really enjoy it, that's what I feel this is what they were trying to do. They were trying to bring some culture along with bringing Miss Marvel to the smaller screen and just giving us this really unique take on it. And from my understanding, when they filmed this, the production value, they made sure that all of it was really constructed very well and try to make it as authentic looking as New Jersey looked. And I thought they did hands down a really good job with that. So overall, it was a really fine production, just like any Marvel thing is. But definitely you could see that they put some good thought into this series and given us that extra little bit of culture.
Okay. Joe, do you have anything?
I've been really hard on the bad guys, but as a whole, I think this has been a beautiful piece. I believe I love the diversity. I love the trying to connect to real world history. I love the colors. I love the animation. I love the playful, but yet Kitty. It's you got to watch her grow. man, there's so much about this. The design, even the logo as it comes in flipping around, it had a really good design. Even the music had a great soundtrack. It fit. It was perfect. The characters were made well. Out of like all the Disney Plus shows, it's right up there for me anyways. I would put it up there with Loki, WandaVision, and I probably put her number 3 really, unless I'm really forgetting one. But I love Loki. I love WandaVision. I think this one kind of stands out in the crowd. I think it was very well made, produced. Again, Marvel's done a great job. I think there's only been, a couple of the early films that was like, so I think they're continuing to throw strikes, and Miss Marvel's, I love it. I love the whole thing. So.
Okay, great. So I guess essentially at that point, we then go on to, I guess, like our real first sort of extended, epic sort of, I guess, highlight action scene, all about essentially and featuring, Miss Marvel and her new outfit and her new costume. And essentially, damage control, I guess you could say finds them, right? Bumps into them essentially. They're not able to get from them. And again, Kamala, displays and I guess defending themselves or whatever, or defending Cameron, right? Against damage control. She displays that she definitely has a better grasp on using her powers. She's gotten better at her energy projection and whatnot, which we've talked about in the past would probably happen, right? I've actually thought it was very interesting, like watching her evolution from episode to episode to episode. It was fun to follow, seeing her sort of improve and whatnot from episode to episode. And I'll also give them credit again for the fact that, unlike Moon Knight, they made an effort to make sure that in every episode you see her use her powers, right? And you see her actually have some sort of action scene of some kind, which I liked. That they added that to every episode essentially. But moving on. Essentially, Cameron is also participating. Of course, he can fight. We already know that he's Jin, right? So he knows how to fight. He knows how to throw down with hands and whatnot and everything. And of course he now has powers essentially. And I'm not sure if it was at the exact like beginning and in that initial part of like that action scene and them fighting against damage control that he clearly showed an ability to on his own direct, right, and project the energy and target and be accurate with it. But either way, throughout that action scene, he at some point starts doing it and fighting back not only with his hands but also like with energy blasts and shit and whatnot. And also, you notice that when he projects his energy, or even when it like leaks or whatever, or when he exploded earlier, it actually, in a way, looks similar to Kamala's energy and her powers in a way, right? There's almost a connection there where there's a similarity, which, I'm assuming, has to do with the fact that, they're both Jinn, right? To some extent. And at that point, I'm not sure exactly what the cannon that damage control used, if it was sound or something like that they used when they shot it at Kamala and actually broke through like her energy shields and shit and everything that she had put up and whatnot. I'm not sure, Cyber or Gunnar or Joe. What was it? What do you think it was they actually were
that's
shooting?
that sonic cannon that was in the Incredible Hulk film.
Yeah.
It's like a miniature version of it.
Yeah. Well, they brought the big one, and I think that's the scene Jeff's talking about. They had the little cannon, like the hand cannons, and then they brought in the big one from.
Yeah. I was thinking the big. It just looked like it was a little smaller, and that might have just
maybe
been
it
there.
was. Maybe it was, but they also had the little rifles with the. That's some tech.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. So yes, okay, so it was a sonic cannon of some kind and whatnot and everything that was able to essentially knock down Kamala's energy shields and whatnot that she was using and everything to protect everybody. And they actually knocked Kamala down at one point and whatnot with it and everything, right? So damage control is bringing out the big guns and shit now. And of course, though, Kamala gets back up, right? And we get sort of a, I guess, like power-up moment with her, where I guess I'm not sure if it was because she was mad or something, or because she was threatened, or you know, really what the actual I guess trigger was, essentially, maybe that like took her to that level. But she suddenly like came harder than she ever has and whatnot with her powers. She for the first time showed us both of the massive, like, you know, big fist type deals and whatnot from the comics and shit that she usually is known for and whatnot. And you know, like punches or knocks over like a whole big ass, like, you know, truck and everything and whatnot, and throw, you know, knocks it like, you know, running, like rolling away and everything and whatnot. At that point, too, I know for a fact, clearly, evidently, Cameron is right out there and whatnot, energy blasting the damage control agents and whatnot, who are very numerous during the scene. There's a lot of them. And at that point, also, there's a crowd, once again, of like almost like fans or well-wishers or whatever that are in support of Miss Marvel. And there's also media there, right, with cameras and whatnot, and news crews and whatnot and everything, too, at the high school. So, you know, Cameron now has energy projection, you know, and, you
Maybe
know,
it's a mutant thing.
hey, you know what? We're going to be talking about that in just a minute, of course. I think we all know that that's coming soon, you know, unless you're Kevin and you didn't watch the episode or something like that or whatever, and, you know, you're just so good and whatnot, and so talented and whatnot as a guest that, like, you're able to, like, through ESP or some shit, know what happened. I don't know. You know, essentially, Miss Marvel then also displays super strength for the first time in the series and whatnot, right? I think. Am I right, guys? That was the first time we saw her with actual super strength when she picked up that truck. I think that qualifies as super strength. So, you know, that's actually comic book accurate, right? At that point, which I like. And essentially then at that point, damage control's, I guess, head guy then calls off damage control due to how bad they're looking and right now and everything in front of the cameras, attacking and whatnot these kids and shit in the high school and whatnot.
Well, he actually called them off earlier, and she just ignored him.
Yes. And thank you for pointing that out, Gunnar. I appreciate that. Thank you for mentioning that. So, you know, he calls them off, and I'm going to end this part of the episode and go to you guys on the panel with the scene that we got where Kamala stands in front of her mirror, in front of her uniform for the first time, and really looks at herself and whatnot, and sort of, I guess, experiences her dream, right? For the first time of being a superhero in real life, which is a really actually like positive moment, I thought, right? It was well done. And I was happy for her. I was. So, Joe, what do you think about that whole like action scene and whatnot, damage control, Kamala's powers, how well she did with them and whatnot?
I think that really was a good period at the end of the sentence on this. She got to really let loose. She looked more like the comic book version, the super strength, throwing the trucks, and being a really good person. It's kind of like, you know, Captain America. He was always the good guy. And I feel like she has a true caring heart, because even though Cameron was showing some bad stuff going on, she still had his back for now. And she picked it up. She defended him. She was looking out for him still. Don't think he really deserved it after he started fucking everybody up. But I think that shows her true color, because I think a lot of these small Disney Plus shows are to introduce these characters that the masses don't really know, you know, because your everyday person's like, who the hell's Miss Marvel? I thought they did a movie on her. I mean, I've heard all kind of different stuff. You know, Moon Knight. Who's Moon Knight? Who's these people? So I think this whole story is to present to you Miss Marvel and show her inner workings. And she's a true, even when things were kind of shaky, she stood by her friend. And, you know, they kind of the Captain America to the Winter Soldier, you know, he's messed up. It's not him. We can save him. You know, he stood by him. So the action was great. I think this was the highlight of the whole episode. Actually, probably about half of the episodes, this was probably the best that we've seen for a while. But I thought it was really well done. You got to see what she's about. And then you know, when she gets in front of the mirror, like Jeff was talking about, she gets in front of that mirror and it's like, yep, I'm here. And it's like the end of the story. Like, here we are. We went through the climax. This is what she's about. And now here's a little teasers to kind of get us ready for the other. So I thought it was well done. I thought it was well presented. Yeah. She's going to be a great character for a while. She's young and she'll be able to be used for a while. So I like it. It was well done.
Wait, what, Joey? What are you talking about, man? What happened, brother? J-Red 2000's in the house. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was confused. What do you mean?
Oh, no, man. No, I'm sorry. I was talking to J-Red 2000, Joey there in the comment section, my brother over there.
Joey Red was like, wait, what?
That's right. Over at a podcast Odyssey. Me and Cyber were over there hanging out with them the other night and whatnot. It was cool. That's right, Joey. You're good people, man. We love you, brother. So anyways, Gunnar, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think my biggest takeaway from that scene, as great as it was, I'm talking about the fight, the battle, that whole how it wraps up. She leaves with a secret identity. That is something that doesn't happen in the MCU. That's like the big difference between MCU and DC. I've always been saying that, how there are no secret identities in the MCU, and she actually has one, which leads me to think that the movie that I think this is the closest to me is the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. It evokes so much of that from the whole learning of the power stuff that they don't really spend the time anymore to do. And to me, that's the point of these Disney Plus series. What, like you said, when they've been doing it on these lesser known characters, so they don't have to spend a whole movie introducing. And it's funny because when they first started doing these Disney Plus series, I mean, look at last year. The Disney Plus series were Hawkeye and Loki and Falcon, Winter Soldier, Wanda, Vision. I mean, these are the characters we know and love. And they gave us this little taste, and now they're just throwing out these lesser known characters, and we're going to get Riri Williams soon, and we're going to get She-Hulk, and we're going to get these characters that you're right, we don't know these characters all that well. So I like the transition. I like that she has a secret identity. I think that's cool. And that whole scene at the end, I don't know if we're at the part where she's talking to her dad as well, but it humanizes her in that way that I think is what, drew me to her as a character, is that she's just like me. She's just a dork. She's just like me, a 17-year-old Indian dork. That's me on the inside. I just relate so much with her, and just looking with her, doing the pose. That's what I would do if I was wearing my superhero costume for the first time. It's exactly what I would do. So, no, I like this. It ended on such a strong note. Yeah, man. I can't say enough.
Okay. All right, Cyber.
So that whole end sequence, the fight sequence, was really cool. It's great to see her use her powers. It was nice to see her use the powers that we are familiar with in the comics, because we know that Disney took some liberties and Marvel took some liberties and changed it up a little bit for what Kamala's real powers are from the comic books. Reading several of the comic books now, I'm up to episode 7 now on the comics. It's nice to finally see something that was so similar to the comics when she got the two big fists and grew a little bit, and then how they made it where she looked all kind of like glass and stuff like that. That was really cool. It was awesome seeing her throw and like, stop the tank from, falling on the crowd and stuff like that was really cool. Talking about her putting on the new suit that you were talking about earlier too in the mirror, that was really cool to finally get to see that, Miss Marvel actual suit finally. It's sad it took, the 5 episodes before we got to see it, but overall it was just a great feeling to see her finally in that suit, and like she's officially Miss Marvel now, and that was just really cool. And they, definitely changed it up a little bit. You can see like when she gets that suit and everything like that, so different from what the comic books had it, where it was like right away she was given the suit by her mom in the comic books, and she was like, you need to have a disguise already, because she kind of already explained it to Abu and to her mom and stuff like that in the comic books, like the second episode. So, how they did this, they prolonged it a little bit more, giving us more of that rich history and that more of that family dynamic in this. But overall, really great sequence. It was great to see kind of Cameron and his powers and her having to deal with that and having to try to stop him and all that kind of good stuff. Overall, I thought it was really good.
Okay, excellent. And I must say that basically I thought that look, I think I kind of have always liked Miss Marvel's actual uniform, right, or outfit and whatnot. I have always liked the color scheme and whatnot of it. I do. I thought that she looked great in it. I did. And it was great that they dropped it in the finale, right? A la Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Sam Wilson becoming Captain America and donning the suit for the first time, right? There you go. There's that connective tissue, baby. But so yes, as Gunnar mentioned, we then move on to a conversation between Dad and Kamala on the front porch of the house that is essentially like very deep, right? And involves, essentially, I guess, her dad sort of passing out advice, right? About, what it means to be a superhero, I guess, right? I don't know. It's hard for me to come up with the words to try to really articulate, I guess, like what the premise was of it, whatnot, and everything. But at the end of the day, right? It sounded cool, right? And he made some good points. Essentially, basically, I felt like it was nice to see sort of, more of a positive vibe with the family and Kamala in the episode, and there to be like more harmony there instead of like how we had some conflict and whatnot in the first couple episodes, to the point where like some people out there in the fandom actually like don't like and have a problem with like Kamala's parents and her mom and shit and everything and whatnot. Believe it or not. So beyond Dad and Kamala's talk, we then of course get to the part that we talked about earlier and I mentioned earlier about we're going to talk about the mutant thing later on, guys. Come on now. Because we get the scene where Bruno essentially explains to Kamala that he detected something new or different with her genes than what they originally thought. And essentially, his best way to explain it to her was that it was a mutation. Her genes are a mutation, right? And now, I'm going to go right to the panel on this one. Okay. What do you think, Cyber? What do you think, Cyber? What the hell was the point of that? I mean, why did they use the word mutation in that scene? Like, was that in some way a mutant like flag?
Most definitely. I think this is another way that Marvel was trying to subtly kind of talk about the mutant stuff, kind of like what they do with WandaVision when they do the flashback sequence with her, and that, even when she was a little kid in Sokovia and the bombs went off, she saved herself and her brother because she already had some sort of mutant gene. They kind of explain that and kind of give you that kind of that tidbit. I think this is the same thing it's trying to once again say there's really people with mutations or mutants in the world and trying to start to phase us into the X-Men. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Madness did that again, showing Xavier, in the Earth 6319 or whatever, which one it was. It's all these little like tidbits they're putting the cookie crumbs out for Hansel and Gretel to find, and that's pretty much what this kind of was to once again mutation, which once again something, because now reading the comics, it's like why are you saying Kamala's a mutant now? I guess I haven't gotten that far yet, but her being the Inhuman, I think the Inhuman section there is Gunnar. Yes, Gunnar.
You can go on, you can finish. I just I think it's genius what they're doing, because a little backstory, the reason why she's an Inhuman is because Marvel sold the rights to the X-Men. So they killed off the X-Men comic because we're not going to create new characters for Fox to use in their movies now that we're making our own movies. So they kind of pivoted, and all these characters that would have been mutants, they just called them Inhumans. And then Marvel even tried to make the Inhumans that we all like to forget about, which was an ABC show that I didn't hate, but wasn't very good. And they tried Inhumans and it failed. And I think this is their way of saying, look, now we can make her a mutant. I don't know if she was always intended to be a mutant, but because of the film rights, they changed it to an Inhuman. Or this is just their way of saying, we get it. We're going to make up for that. We're going to make her the first mutant. So I don't know. I mean, and she's not the first mutant, because we've had Wanda, we've had Pietro, and we've had Ursa Major in Black Widow. So we've technically seen 3 in this universe so far. So
yeah,
I think it's an awesome move for someone that has no real. I have no real connection to the Inhumans, meaning it doesn't bother me that they changed her origin from an Inhuman to a mutant, if that's what they're doing. And why would they play the Q if they're not going to do that? But I know a guy at work that was talking, and he's disappointed that they haven't made her an Inhuman. It bothers him. I'm like, bro, did you not see the series? How terrible it was? Of course they want us to forget about it, even though they just gave us Black Bolt back. But no, I like it. It's a good makeup for, something that it was a retcon that probably they're doing in the movies because they can't really do it in the comics. So, sorry. I like that.
Hey, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Joe, go ahead, man. What you got?
So where are we on this? It kind of bounced around. Is this supposed to be where we're going, or with the mutant part? Because I was hearing different things, and I started commenting. I think I threw myself off what the original question was.
It's about the mutation.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it, Joe. Just straight up. What was your take on him, on Bruno dropping the word mutation in that scene?
I definitely, I think it's also, are we getting ready to see X-Men 1990? A little bit of the Uncanny X-Men getting ready to come back, where they're going to finally finish the series. So I think that was a little bit of, definitely an X-Men shout, mutants. I'm so excited about that. Now, I really, as far as the hardcore comics, I don't know her background, so it doesn't bother me either way if they pivoted from Inhuman to mutant, or, I think they need to be starting to plant more seeds for the X-Men and the mutant series coming, because that's going to be around the bend before we know it. For me, I guess it didn't really matter either way. I need to do a little more research on her as far as that aspect. I didn't realize they were going to throw that in on this episode, or I would have tried to dig up a little bit more before we came on, because I was like, whoa, did you hear that? oh shit, I got real excited and cheesy, but I kind of lost the, where to go with it because I didn't realize that she was on that level. I was looking at her as right now, as far as I knew, she was a djinn, basically, that she's in some sort of relations to them. And so it kind of, I was like, whoa. And then, I think it was great to plant the seeds to put it out there more because they are coming. So,
Well, I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not completely sure accurately. I don't believe that they've made Miss Marvel into a mutant at any time in the
Oh,
comics.
she's an Inhuman. She's not a mutant.
Yeah, she's not a mutant. So
yeah.
I mean, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, hey, look, like it was exciting, right? I mean, hey, Joe, I don't think anybody saw that coming. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they dropped that in there and whatnot. I certainly did not come into that. Go ahead.
I enjoyed it more than, Captain Marvel showing up at the end. To be honest, I thought that was a nice little oh wow, because it kind of slapped you in the face. Because I was watching with my roommate and I was like, oh my god, did you hear that? Yeah, oh my god, So I thought that was great. I wasn't really that. I really thought there would have been a different cameo. That it was Captain Marvel. I thought they would have went with a different person, but
okay,
I thought
Joe,
that was cool. But
what, Joe? Okay, first off, why you got to steal my thunder like that, man, and whatnot? I was going to drop the whole Miss Marvel thing myself, bro, during the show.
I didn't say anything. What are you talking about?
That's yours, man. Yo, you stole that shit from me, dude. I'm telling you right now.
Stole it.
That's right.
Stole it.
I'm telling you, dude. And then on top of that, bro, you got me crying inside and shit and whatnot, the way you're talking about Miss Marvel and whatnot, and Brie Larson this way and whatnot and everything, right? About the post-credit scene and shit and everything, I mean, I'm crying inside, dude,
I know it's probably going to mess up your masturbating to the sand people later, ain't it?
Oh, no.
I can't get there.
No. I actually tried to masturbate to pictures of Brie Larson's ass. So I can purposely try to make myself homosexual, right? Since apparently according to Thor 4 and Taika Waititi and Shane Foster, everything and whatnot, the entire purpose of Thor 4 was about gayness and like homosexuality and shit and everything. And according to Taika, everybody's gay apparently.
Did you guys see Thor 4 yet? Jeff, did you see it? So I don't know, but the scene where her and Kamran were holding hands and their powers glue, all I could think about was Korg talking about the wedding ceremony where like two what are they, Coordinates or whatever they are, hold hands in front of Cronins. Yeah, that's all I could think about when those two were holding. I'm like, oh, they're gonna have a baby. Like.
Well, thank you very much for putting that out there and spoiling Thor 4 for me, Gunnar. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to.
It happens in like the first 20 minutes.
I'm just kidding, dude. You didn't do anything wrong, brother. Come on now. It's no big deal.
Nice at the end. Sorry.
Hey, look. Hey, listen, man. I got brain damage anyway. I'll forget about that shit in 5 minutes. I won't remember. Who cares? It don't make any difference. I don't even know who the fuck I am sometimes when I wake up in the morning. It's all good. But anyways, no. I'm hopefully going to go see Thor 4 tomorrow. So I can catch up with Cyber, and we can actually like plan our Thor 4 review show and whatnot, because honestly, it would be nice to actually make that shit concrete. I think you know what I mean. So I'm gonna try to go see it.
I thought we did make it concrete on Monday that we're gonna do it Friday.
Well, you know what? Honestly, we can probably still do it on Friday as long as I watch it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just have to make sure that I go to see it tomorrow and whatnot. And at that point, if I know for sure I'm going to go, I can even actually get started on trying to put the show together and whatnot before I go see it tomorrow, So if you want to do it.
We have video proof that you said that on Monday, too.
All right, Cyber. I'll tell you what, brother, since you are my loyal co-host and whatnot, and everything, when it boils down to it, and my good friend, we are definitely doing it in the Thor 4 review and breakdown on Friday evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast, and you can find us on that live stream show on Twitch, Facebook Live, Twitter, I guess live they call it. I have no idea what they call it. It's not whatever. It's not what they used to call it, Periscope anymore, but whatever. And we are now on Rumble. What up, Rumble? you know, which has been great. You know what? We've actually even had people watch our live stream shows already. Isn't that wonderful? Right? New fans, baby. We love it. And it's awesome being on a new platform, right? And honestly, I like Rumble. I do. I think it's a cool platform, and I think it has potential. I do. And honestly, I'm very appreciative. We're very appreciative to them, of course, as always, for supporting us and supporting our show, and giving us exclusive free streaming access and whatnot on the platform, since they make everybody else pay for it, you know? And hey, when they heard that Cyberneticshark was involved, they were like, fuck it. We're giving it to you for free. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at first they actually were going to like double charge us for it and whatnot because of me, right? You know, but no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so, you know, one person who is definitely very popular on Rumble, if you go watch some of the videos on there, that the guys and whatnot and gals that cover the MCU and Marvel on there, Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, she's very popular on Rumble, definitely. Nothing but positive, you know, words and thoughts and whatnot in the videos on Rumble about her. You know, you'll see. I'll tell you, go watch and look. But honestly, last thing on Rumble, there's actually some pretty damn funny and like pretty freaking like talented and solid creators and whatnot on there that cover Marvel and DCU and shit and whatnot, the fandom stuff, which I didn't even know about, to tell you the truth, until recently. So you know what? Again, it's nice to be on Rumble. And Thor 4 freaking review and breakdown and shit on Friday night and whatnot and everything. And shit, you know what? Just since we're already, you know, doing all this shit now, Joe, Gunnar, you're invited too for the damn show. There you go. There's your invitation. There you go. Hey, how about that? Right? Way to multitask, guys, right? You know? That's how I do it. So, anyways, look, as far as you know, the mutation thing goes, I mean, hey, all I gotta say is, look, as long if freaking Marvel Studios wants to make Miss Marvel a damn mutant or whatever and whatnot, as long as they do it the right way and shit, right, and it's authentic and it's not stupid or something and whatnot, right, and it works, then I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, they can do what they want. It's all good, right? You know, at the end of the day, some stuff, comic book accuracy is very important to me. Other stuff, I just don't give a shit.
So okay, so if she's in the Inhumans, is the Inhumans sort of a mutant as well, right?
Well, I mean, it depends. The Inhumans TV show, Inhumans, were basically like these fucking retarded, crackhead, you know, like pathetic, like fucking, you know, type like people and whatnot, and characters where, you know, it was like they were basically just as boring as possible at times, you know, like on screen.
Well, where I was going with it is, so maybe even though they threw that X-Men chime in there to entice us, maybe they still will go at that she's like figure out a way that there's a little bit of a difference between them and the mutants or something. You know, that way it's still trying to keep it somewhat comic book accurate and still do a little mutant teaser out there. I'm not exactly sure how much of the, you know, the line of Inhuman and Mutants. I know a lot more of the mutants.
Oh, wait, there's no connection whatsoever. Totally different entities and whatnot and everything. The Inhumans and the mutants. There's no connection at all.
Well, you know, so like, okay, so Bruno looked at her DNA and noticed that there was something different. Is it, you know, is he seeing the Inhuman difference? Or is the mutant thing actually leading?
I don't think she's an Inhuman at all. I think she's a mutant.
Okay.
Well, can I throw a question out? What you guys thought if, I mean, everything we think has been leading up to the Young Avengers. What if we get America Chavez and we get Kamala Khan and we get Billy and Tommy Maximoff and we get all these characters and they meet at a certain school for the gifted? Do you think that would cheapen bringing the X-Men in if this Young Avengers group we're getting is actually how they introduce the X-Men? Or would that cheapen it?
Go ahead, Cyber, you start.
I honestly don't think it would cheapen it. I think that would be a clever way of bringing in the X-Men themselves. by bringing in something that we're already familiar with, and then bringing in something that people have been pining for, been wanting, into something they already love. So I mean, I think that would be a clever way of bringing that together, so that they can introduce them in a more nonchalant way, so that they're not basically altering or changing anything that has already been done with the X-Men. So I think that would be a clever way of doing that.
I mean, to me, it seems like, that's our big discussion for the longest time. How are they going to bring in the mutants? Are they going to just say, oh, they were there the whole time? I thought it was going to have something to do with Multiverse of Madness and the whole House of M, which didn't pan out. But I mean, what about this theory right there? We know that in that whatever universe that they were in, we know that they killed Thanos, which means that the time stone is probably in the possession of Mordo, who, by the way, is also the only Illuminati member who's still alive. So he could take that time stone, rewind everything, bring all the Illuminati back, and then we got this incursion happening where this universe combines with 616. Now we have X-Men and Inhumans and a Fantastic Four in this 616 universe. Now, maybe that's a cool way to kick off the school here by bringing in these younger people. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that's an easy way to do it, where we have an established X-Men. They're new to this universe. So maybe that's why, because the whole thing about X-Men, what made X-Men work was the whole racial thing where people hated them because they were mutants. And now people hate these people because they're enhanced humans from another dimension. I mean, that could add on to the whole how they have actual mutants and then these people that are kind of not born mutants. They're not true mutants in the comics. So maybe that's their way to bring us the mutants by doing this incursion from this other universe. And now we get Fantastic Four, we get Inhumans, and we get the mutants, and we don't have to. I mean, it's a cheap, easy way to do it, but I mean that might work.
I think it sounds cool. I think it'd be well done, and it'd be kind of a way to drop them in there because they're gonna, if it sticks to any of the stories, because we know we've got Wanda and her dad's, oh my God, Magneto. Thank you. So that the mutants have been there since before time. You're not before time, but since at least the Holocaust and things like that, if they stick to that kind of realm. So you got that out there. So it'd be an awesome way to bring these characters and these young guys into the school. I think that's a cool way to go, well, we've been here, but you guys just don't know about us. We've been kind of, working here and they know about us, but we're quiet. So I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of shoot. I am off tonight. Damage control. Maybe they already know about some of the mutants and they're already starting to connect to that. I don't know.
And maybe this is our way to reboot Wanda. I mean, maybe she'll actually stay dead, and now we have the Wanda from that universe with Billy and Tommy.
Okay, there you go. That's interesting. And you know what, Gunnar? As always, your theorizing and speculation and whatnot is always great to listen to and whatnot. You are a very, insightful, theoretical type dude at the end of the day, and we enjoy that about you. Now, as far as like my opinion on I don't know, I guess maybe in some way, I don't know, Miss Marvel facilitating like the actual introduction of mutants into like the MCU or something, and even like taking it as far as having her attached to the X-Men or some shit. Now, I don't know about that, to tell you the truth. I'm not so sure if I'm like really all that like down with that or whatever, or like I see an obvious connection there or whatever in any way. But also at the same time, I don't know that I necessarily like Miss Marvel as a character and a superhero as a mutant. I don't know about that yet. I'm not sure. or as the face of mutants almost, right? For the MCU and all that. I don't know about that. We'll have to see, right? Again, it depends on how they do it. But as far as mutants in general in the MCU, I still think that we're a ways. I mean, honestly, I don't think they're in any rush to go ahead and drop it or like make it happen anytime soon. I don't think they're worried about it. So, we in the fandom and the people in the fandom may be like, impatient or whatever about it and whatnot, and like feel like they should have already done it and everything and all that and whatnot. I hear and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if they would have went ahead and dropped Magneto in WandaVision. I would have loved it. I would have. I think it would have been great, to tell you the truth. But at the same time, I trust Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige and their decision making, and Marvel Studios always, for the most part, makes good decisions. So overall, I'm sure however they do it, we'll like it and it'll work out and it'll work well. Hey, maybe I think they should just like bring Rogue in, man. Like they mentioned it, like they said before, and rumored like, over a year ago or 2 years ago, they said that Rogue was going to be in the Captain Marvel 2 movie and whatnot. I would love that. I love Rogue when she's done right. She'd be a great, connection or like trigger to go ahead. Go ahead.
That would make sense because isn't Rogue's a big part of her power because she absorbed Captain Marvel too long? So it could be the Marvels, since we just had the X-Men taste. Maybe that's a little bit of a seed that we're going to get maybe something in the Marvels with the Rogue. I mean, that could be very possible for Rogue to show up in that show.
Well, hey, Joe, honestly, I mean, look, maybe, honestly, I don't know. When those rumors came out a long ass time ago, again, we're talking like literally probably a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, that those rumors were really hot. That Rogue was going to be in Captain. It was right, like literally, almost legitimately, it was before they even called it the Marvels, when it was still called Miss Marvel 2, right? So bottom line, like, I mean, honestly, maybe I'm a little biased just because I love Rogue. And, at that point, who knows? Maybe it was just a bullshit rumor, right? I'll tell you right now, that since then, I've not seen or heard one damn thing or seen one story again about it or heard anybody talk about it at all, really. So we'll see what happens. But again, honestly, Joe, now that we know that they're going to do Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel and Kamala Khan and whatnot in the Marvels and whatnot, and that's going to be sort of like a team up, like trio type deal.
Yeah. Then
you add Nick Fury to that shit, and what's his name? I forget the name of the actor, but yes. I mean, honestly, I don't know, and I don't see how they'd be able to even fit in Rogue at that point into the film, right? And plus at the same time too, they're tying it into the Secret Invasion Disney Plus series, right? So at that point, I don't see how dropping Rogue into that dynamic, right, would make sense necessarily. So, we'll see. But hey, either way, I love Rogue. And please, Marvel Studios, give us a good Rogue this time. We don't want the freaking Fox Rogue again, please. Please.
Well, she'll be coming back with the cartoon.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you know what, folks? I'm not going to get it. I don't want to get deep into it, but there's actually been new official information and news about the X-Men animated series coming out on Disney Plus. And essentially, I think that maybe sometime down the road on another show or whatever, we'll do a segment or something. Cyber, you and I, we'll do something about on the X-Men animated series. Like a throwback, type of like segment or whatever. Along with some like new information and like some talk on like the animated series coming back. But that is really cool. I cannot honestly remember for sure when they said or they're forecasting actually dropping that animated series. Do any of you guys know?
No, I didn't look that up. I did look up though that on IMDb there's 3 major characters that does not have a role place next to him. So I was just trying to see if there's anybody that's floating on there that could maybe look the role of Rogue. But there's a Zaw Ashton, Zawe.
Wait a minute, is that the actor or something that's gonna voice?
She's just no. This is off the Marvels. There's a couple girls that don't have a role, but one of them could possibly look the role for Rogue, but she has no role next to her name.
I see. Okay.
Just throwing out randomness. I mean, shot in the dark.
Okay. Hey, that's fine.
There's a reason that she don't have a role next to her name because her character, they haven't introduced her yet. So.
Okay. Well, going to you, Gunnar. First off,
sorry.
Obviously, we all already talked about it. We all know what happened in the post-credit scene. Miss Marvel herself popped up at Kamala Khan's house and shit and everything and whatnot. Why? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what her goal was or whatever and whatnot. I have no clue, but she was there. And at that point, Gunnar, what did you think of the fact that we actually? Well, you know what? Hey, Cyber, did I not say last week that I thought it was possible we might get some type of like cameo appearance of like another character or like an introduction of a character of some kind?
Several people said that they thought there was going to be cameos, but we all said different ones that, you know, we were like, It could be Brie Larson, it could be Samuel Jackson, Fury. We don't know, but we did all say something of that sort.
Okay. So, Gunnar, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this final, I guess, round of questions, essentially, at least unless I think of something else, on the Miss Marvel finale and whatnot. How did you figure? What were your thoughts on Miss Marvel appearing?
I mean, I just figure that's how they're setting up the Marvels. Somehow she changed places with Kamala. So maybe she found the other end of that bangle. And when Captain Marvel put the bangle on, she switched places with Kamala Khan. And that's how she ends up back on Earth. And then she's going to go to Sword or Shield and find out what's going on. And that's where she's going to run into Monica again, or Monica Rambeau. And they're going to have to try and find Kamala. I think that's kind of going to be what the movie's about. But I, unlike someone on this panel, I actually think Brie Larson is great. A great actress. Everything else I've seen her in, she's been fantastic. So I was excited to see her. I'm a Brie Larson fan.
Hey, listen, we respect other people's opinions here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. So you know what, Gunnar? Hey, look, I don't know Brie Larson personally. She could be great. I don't know,
She was on that show, United States of Terra, and she was she would go on like webcams and sit on pies and stuff. She was a splasher. I'm like, that's awesome. You have my utmost respect. Free pass for life for sitting on a pie on a TV show. It's great.
Okay, Cyberneticshark, your thoughts on the Miss Marvel cameo?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't hate Brie Larson. I think she's, I do think she's overrated, but I do think she does an okay job in some films. I did like her in 21 Jump Street. I did like her in the first Captain Marvel film. I didn't care for her in The Room. I thought she shouldn't have won that Oscar for that, but that's another thing. Because there definitely was better actresses that year, I feel. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting they decided to go with the Captain Marvel cameo. And it was interesting to see her, because we really haven't seen her in several years now. You can tell she's a lot skinnier, and she's not as how she was in the first Captain Marvel, I feel, or even in Endgame. She definitely looked better with the longer hair again. But overall, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, Joe?
Okay, so, all right. So what I got out of this is that now I feel like legitly this bangle she has is the Kree Nega bands. So that ties her to Captain Marvel because it's Kree, some kind of Kree engineering or however it is, and it connects them. So I think that really connects to the cosmic universe now that this is from space and not somewhere else. And so I thought that was cool. My other thing was, oh shit, what if Miss Marvel's flying in space and now this little Muslim girl is floating through space? That's all I started cracking up because my Quentin Tarantino side of my brain did some demonic shit. It's like I could see her head explode from the pressure in space. Like, oh shit, she's dead. No, I thought it was really cool. I thought, I thought originally it was going to be like Rambo that's going to show up. And that was how they were going to tie it in together. I was kind of surprised to see Captain Marvel, but I thought that was cool how it twisted, and it kind of connects that the Bengals now is a Kree artifact. So I thought that was really cool that now we kind of have a little bit more of a direction, that there is a little more connection. And when she jokingly earlier in the episodes said that it was cosmic, it kind of is now, it puts it in that it kind of connected it.
Well, in the flashback, when they got the bangle, they took it off the arm of a blue-skinned person. So
yes, I forgot about that. Yes.
In fact, when we first saw it, I thought that it was Kree, and I thought Kamran was going to be a Kree too, because his name kind of had that same cadence, Kamran as Marvel and Anrag, like it kind of had that same. So before we even knew that they were clandestines, I thought that they were going to be Kree.
Yeah.
But I was wrong about that, like I am about 90% of my theories. But yeah, I mean, the blue skin, that was a big giveaway that it was Kree.
You never know. The Jinn still could be Kree. That could be the connection.
Yeah.
Well, we might have would have seen that when his ant melted. And I wouldn't have thought it would have been a skull.
Kind of cool, though.
Yeah. I thought it was the shit. Cool effect.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. You know what? I definitely would not want that to happen to Brie Larson. I can tell you that right now. That's how much I care about her and value her, her life and everything and whatnot. I would not want to see her melt like that at all. Although you never know. Maybe that might actually improve her ass. You don't know. Who knows? That way, so many dudes would not have to end up with, permanent erectile dysfunction and shit when they try to play with her at the end of the day. But anyways, folks, hopefully you don't end up with that condition, right? Because it sounds pretty rough, and I don't wish that on anybody, of course, except for Shaw, of course, for being so cool and whatnot and everything earlier and whatnot of the show. I don't care if that happens to him at all, but you know what? He probably already has it anyway. And it's all good, So either way, I, of course, even if I did ever experience that or whatever, it would not matter. Because I have the Bacta tank that Boba Fett got me a deal on and whatnot, everything still, right? And, the Bacta tank can even fix that and heal me with that and whatnot, right? So, it's very valuable to have. Joe, as far as the herpes you mentioned earlier and whatnot and everything, listen, man, I did a Bacta session on Tuesday night and it knocked that shit out quick, bro.
There you go, Jeff.
What do you got, Gunnar? Oh, what is that? Boba?
Yeah.
Yo, that's my man.
Way too expensive, but
I'm telling you, brother. I love him. Boba's my guy. He's almost as cool as the damn Tuskens. Almost, right? But hey, I love Boba because he loves the Tuskens. I mean, shit. But anyways, folks.
That was about the only thing good with that. That Mandalorian saved that series. Thank God.
Hey, come on now. Don't make fun of Boba Fett. The series, okay?
Hey, outside, I'm a huge Boba Fett, and I was very upset how much of a bitch they made him. He was not. Mando is more of what you think Boba Fett should have been. I know they were trying to switch the stories up, but I for what I wanted out of Boba, I was expecting a little bit more. But I know that's not on this show. That's a different thing. But
hey, you know what? Look, all I can say is, be kind to Boba. All right, now come on now. The Star Wars fans have having a rough time last couple of years, and whatnot, and everything, right? And at that point,
hey, Obi-Wan, people bitch about it. I think Obi-Wan was well done.
It was fantastic. I can't wait for Andor. Andor's going to be great too.
Yeah, it is. Mando's doing great. I don't know what direction they landed on Boba. It was like, oh, we're going to do this. Ooh, bring in Mando. Bring in Mando. We got to save the show.
Does anybody know when Mandalorian 3 comes out, actually?
They said, I just seen a thing that it just teased season 3 trailer, that something got dropped from somewhere.
They did it at Star Wars Celebration. They released it.
Okay.
I believe it's
December.
December.
Is it much
November,
of a trailer?
December this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's December.
Oh, man. I'm excited about that one.
I don't blame you. I'll be honest with you. I still need. I finished Mandalorian season 1. I got to do season 2 yet. Still, I think if I remember correctly. Or you know what? Maybe I already watched season 2. I can't remember. Either way, folks. Since we are closing in on the 2-hour mark and whatnot and everything, right? And of course, I am trying to at least make an attempt to be at maybe 3% of the professionality level of Cyber as a moderator. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and close the show out and whatnot. I was going to do a final segment on, smoking crack with the Sand people, what that would be like and whatnot. But we'll save that for another show. Good topic, good segment. Very interesting, I mean, definitely would be interesting to smoke crack with the Sand people. I can tell you that right now. But either way, we do not endorse crack, of course, here at the Bleeding Edge. We only talk about it, we like it, but we don't endorse it or support it. But either way, I'd like to go ahead and give. I don't know, Gunnar. Do you have anything to plug at the moment? Of course you do. You have your Lost show.
Yeah, man, we're doing. We got a Lost rewatch podcast. We've had a couple weeks off. I've had some personal stuff, but we should be back this week with. We're in just started the 3rd season, so if you're Lost fans, or if not, come watch it with us. Lose your virginity to us and listen to us as we go through it. Also have Snap, our Marvel podcast, which will be coming back soon, some form or another. WideOpenMic.net, all of my shows that I'm on, and a bunch of other stuff too.
Well, that's great, Gunnar. I gotta be honest with you, man. I mean, honestly, the way your audio got mangled and distorted during that and whatnot, I have no fucking idea what you just said.
Did it really?
You sounded.
I heard them.
Yeah, the Sand people and the Tuscans actually are easier to understand.
Jeff.
Oh, okay. It must be on my end. I'm sorry, Gunnar. I apologize.
It's that Florida Wi-Fi, I guess.
Damn gator got my Wi-Fi running, damn it.
Oh, man. I feel bad now. Here I am compared you to Sand people and shit and whatnot. Come on now. I feel bad. But anyways, Joe, come on, man. Tell us about your new Marvel MCU fandom show you're going to be making here soon.
Well, so that'll be coming really soon. My little co-host, his work decided to throw him a bone. It's making a little bit of an issue of us teaming up, but it's called Joe and Dave versus the Multiverse of Badass. We just discussed the films, reviews, almost like we're doing here, but just a little more of a conversation, between friends. And then, of course, I'm the host of Monday Love podcast. We are on season 3, about 150 interviews of different recording artists from all across the country. We've had Jelly Roll, we've had Struggle, we've had so many different artists all across, up and coming acts, big acts. So if you guys get a chance, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live on Facebook and then stream on all of your podcast platforms. And then I got the Boss Dog show coming, but I also I had a little bit of a phone call today that looks like they would like for me to jump on a team for a Code Case show with some local podcasters here in Indy. So I might be actually a host or co-host of a new show that they're working out all the details for. Cold Case. Kind of different realm for me, but they say they like me talking, I guess. I don't know. But also, all my friends out there, fans, everybody at the Bleeding Edge. Hey, I'm also the owner of JK Multimedia Productions. I do graphics, webs, anything you can think of, media-oriented graphics. I'm a master level. I've got my degrees. I know my shit. I can create logos like that from behind or anything custom made. Videos. I'm doing a commercial right now for Day of the Dead Film Festival for I guess Indianapolis, Georgia, Texas, and Vegas, I think, is the cities that I'm making the video for. So yeah, man, hit me up if you guys need any podcast designs or logos or backdrops designed, anything. So hit me up at JK Multimedia Productions.
Okay. Cyberneticshark, my friend and co-host. What would you like to talk about as far as all of your multi-platform individual content creation?
Well, if you like what I provide here on the MC's Brilliant, definitely check out my solo content on YouTube as well under Cyberneticshark. You can find me on Rumble. You can find me on Rizzle. You can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all those different places, Instagram. You can definitely check that out on there. You can definitely check out my YouTube. Right now on my YouTube, I am putting out something every other day of content that I'm catching up on. I saw all these things a couple weeks ago, and so I'm finally catching up on my reviews for these things, so definitely check that out. I just dropped my Black Adam trailer reaction today, so definitely check that out on my YouTube channel. And yeah, if you like what I do on here, definitely check that stuff out and subscribe if you get a chance to as well. And it's all good and fun. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Okay, you heard the man. Cyberneticshark. Bottom line, veteran YouTuber, veteran content creator, solid moderator, hails his business, and at the end of the day, good ass friend. You know? And on top of that, too, he's a fucking dope ass dude overall. And plus, look at that damn good ass fucking Miss Marvel shit on his green screen and whatnot. Come on now. That looks good as hell. Right? It's almost as good as Joe's The Marvels that he's got going on there. Almost as good.
What about my messy studio?
His is a little more clearer.
Gunnar, you know what? Honestly, brother,
I love your messy studio.
Gunnar, it has never occurred to me once since I've known you and I've looked at you and seen you on shows and whatnot that there's anything wrong with the way you.
Every time I look to clean it, I'm like, that's going to change everything. Like if I cleaned it, like put stuff away, that's my problem is I start putting stuff away and I get called away.
I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, honestly, Gunnar, I'm really not the type that like is going to be, like studying very fucking like detailed, accurately or whatever, like people's like backgrounds and shit and like where they record and all that and whatnot. I'm not into that.
Glad I'm wearing a shirt. That's all I gotta say.
There you go. You know, but no, honestly, Gunnar, listen.
I actually have that shirt.
Gunnar, you are such a loyal, solid, like valuable guest and whatnot, and the Bleeding Edge and whatnot and everything, and such a great friend and a good man overall and whatnot and everything. That you know what, man, you could goddamn record and like with from a studio, like fucking I don't even know, man. I'm tattooing and shit.
Well, it's funny because I come from the podcasting world where we don't do video, so. I mean, I'll hop on to record. I'll be in like my pajamas. And there's a couple times where I've gotten ready to hop on your show. I'm like, oh man, I can't wear this. People are going to see me. I got to get dolled up for this.
I'm going to record from that bathroom with those freaking people in that video with the guy taking a shit. I'm going to record it there, like during that situation and whatnot. And I'll tell you right now, Joe, I'll be impressed when you bring that baby leg motherfucker as a guest on your show. You know, that will impress me. You know,
well, I'll get them. You guys just lucky I don't stand up and show you my banana hammock.
I'm telling you right now, that baby like or whatever person, I'm telling you, definitely probably has some valuable shit to say.
I'm pretty sure he was in American Horror Stories. I'm pretty sure that was the one crawling around the basement. I'm pretty sure season
I
one.
I don't know.
It's down there. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure, man. All I know is you know, when he takes his fucking wig off or whatever, and throws it up in the air and shit while he's dancing and whatnot. I just almost like fall out, man. I'm telling you, when that shit happens, I'm sorry. And the whole thing where he holds up the machine gun and shit and everything, I'm sorry, but you know, it just kills me, man.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, and then dude on the toilet, right? The whole time he's like looking, he's got his head he's looking down and everything and whatnot, like I'm not even sure what's going on with that guy. You know? But
he's probably trying to take a deuce in peace.
I guess, you know. Either way, I'll tell you right now, whoever directed that video clip is almost as talented as Chloe Zhao, right? Almost. So, you know, bottom line, they're almost there. They're getting there. Anyways, folks, we at the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast are always appreciative and whatnot to all of you wonderful people out there and whatnot that support us. I do not believe in calling you fans. You are our external friends that we don't know, right? At the end of the day, right? You know, bottom line, we love all of you and whatnot and everything. We love the fandom. We love all of your opinions. And, you know, we respect all of them. And we love the Ms. Marvel series. I think all of us did, for the most part. We were happy with it.
Top four.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what? Look, as far as I'm concerned, this is a great direction and a great stepping stone to kind of, sort of, I guess, maybe combat some of the pessimism and negativity at times in the fandom right now. You know, maybe this will help. You know, at least start it, right? We'll see. I'm not going to say anything about Thor 4 yet because I haven't seen it, but I want to believe I'm going to enjoy it no matter what. And, hey, I'm going to call it right now. I don't care what anybody says or what they do with it. Ryan Coogler is going to come through with Black Panther 2. He's going to deliver. He is. He is, at the end of the day. I believe in him. I do. I think he's very talented, and he's going to figure it out and make it work. He is. And they're definitely going to throw some shit at us and whatnot, too. That's going to be surprising. So, we'll see, folks. But either way, we'll see you next time. Peace out. Big love. See you later.
Hot D.
Galaxy.
Yeah. Someone at the door, John, now I'm here to stay. Tell me who the fuck gonna face the music. More bricklaying, less screen time. Been cutting back on the daily usage. Long road for the road dogs, for the weird miles from a soapbox. Got BKTs on this bitch, so everybody getting rolled on, yeah. Yeah, everybody getting rolled on. Check all this credits on BMI. I'm just too kind to expose y'all. And I see a team with a gold sign and question if y'all ever wrote songs. All enemies, I'm on a band study. Please don't.
Oh, that was great. I'm telling you, I'm really professional tonight, folks. Oh, man,